What's good, family? It's your man the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy, Kirill Cherry, for coming through and boosting up the coin. So, we got some breaking news right now regarding your mans, Chris Eubank Jr. and Elbowgate. The Liam Beefy Elbow. Okay, that's what they're calling it. The press now have labelled this the Liam Beefy Elbowgate scandal. Yeah, so here we go. And this, by the way, this source and no next Bookie source. This is official Sky Sports. No doubt about it. Look, boom, Sky Sports. Chris Eubank Jr.'s team are considering an appeal with the BBBoC over alleged moody elbow from Liam Smith in knockout win. Wow. Chris Eubank Jr. suffered a fourth round stoppage loss to Liam Beefy Elbow Smith at the AO Arena in Manchester on Saturday night. Eubank Jr.'s promotional team, Wasserman Boxing, could invoke a rematch clause for a second fight. Not going to play the footage. If you want to see it, I've done a whole... In fact, I was one of the key dons to leak it. I ain't going to make out I'm the first. Yeah, salute to my doggy out there, boxing beats and rhymes, but I was one of the first dons to really break it down frame by frame. So go and check that video out. There's a whole bag of dons stole all your man the YB's IP, but nonetheless, 100% fair use, no doubt. Anyway, so you can peep the video, go on the link. I'm not going to play it here because you know what Sky like. Sky will pop a man's cherry, 100%. Anyway, here's the next piece. Chris Eubank Jr.'s promotional team are considering an appeal to the British Boxing Board of Control over an alleged elbow from Liam Beefy Smith in his stoppage win. Eubank Jr. was brutally stopped by Smith in the fourth round of their British middleweight battle at the AO Arena in Manchester on Saturday night. But Calla Snifferland, what's it not doing that for? Anyway, but Calla Snifferland of Wasserman Boxing, who promotes Eubank Jr., have confirmed they are considering an appeal to the BBBoC about Smith's use of a moody elbow in the combination that led to the knockdown. We are looking at it, Snifferland told Sky Sports when asked about a potential appeal. Eubank Jr.'s trainer, Roy Jones Jr., has also suggested an illegal blow on social media in the aftermath of Smith's stunning triumph. He wrote on Instagram, avoid Roy Jones Jr. as a trainer. Never mind this elbow, just avoid him. Damn, if I can take all that away from a fighter via training, no wonder I raised so much hell in my day. Eubank Jr. raised concerns about Smith's use of an elbow during the filming of The Gloves Are Off a few weeks before the fight. I'm just saying, I like when I see guys doing the headbutting and the elbowing. Wow. Because that means that they are not true, and when the going gets tough, they look for a way out. They look for ways that they're not supposed to use, Eubank Jr. said. Smith replied, "You're reading that all wrong. I'll do anything I can to beat you. Anything. It's a fight. It's called a fight. Regardless of any appeal, Eubank Jr. could activate a rematch clause for an immediate return bout. We obviously have that rematch clause, but we'll let the dust settle," Snifferland has told Sky Sports. "We've got a few weeks to activate that. We'll take an internal discussion, see what the best way forward is for Junior, and go from there." So there's the there's the leak from Sky. Now, you man know my official opinion on this. My official opinion is, elbow or no elbow, Chris Eubank Jr. told us. I mean, the fact that he even preempted it, that makes it even worse for me. It's one thing if you didn't know, but the fact Eubank Jr. said, I know. And that's the thing. I mean, let me give you the full context right now. Yeah, the full context is, after round 3, I mean, look at these quotes here. "I'm just saying, I like when I see guys doing the headbutting and elbowing, because that means they're not true. And when the going gets tough, they look for ways out. They look for ways that they're not supposed to use." Now, what do we know? Everyone, all you Liam Beefy Smith fans can say what you want. He lost the first 2 rounds, and round 3, he looked desperate. He was desperate. I mean, his own corner said so. Oops. His own corner said, what you doing there? You got your head boxed off in round 3. So on that basis, Chris Eubank should have not... He said it here, look. He said it here. Yeah? When the going gets tough, a.k.a. round 3, which was tough, they look for ways out. They look for ways that they're not supposed to use. Oops. So Chris Eubank, he should have been known... Oh, wait there. I've just moshed it. He mauled him. He touched it. He gave him a Savile, 100%. Chris Eubank Jr., Jimmy Savilled Liam Smith in that 3rd round. He looked silly, just standing there, dong, 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 100%. So, out of Chris Eubank Jr.'s own words, he should have been thinking, wait there a minute, I know now, I've made this guy look silly, he hasn't been able to land a glove for 3 rounds, let me use my own words, and he's going to be coming with something he's not supposed to use, yeah? Instead, Chris go in the corner, beak in the air, hands down, doing all this, and he gets clipped. So he knew what he was doing. He signed the fight, and on that basis, elbow or no elbow, I'm not. People say YB. Listen, I said Liam Smith won the fight in that sense. I'm not someone who says, oh, we need to go back. Yeah, because Chris Eubank Jr. out of his own mouth, he knew what to expect. And my whole thing is, Chris, and I believe Chris. I told you the same thing. I said even at 50%. Before the fight, yeah, I mean, Eubank himself here is admitting, even with elbows, this guy can't stop me. That's essentially what Eubank's saying. He was saying, I can beat this guy at 50%. I believe that. He believed that. I can beat this guy with elbows or without elbows. I believe that. He believed that. So, now you've been elbowed, potentially. You know what I'm saying? You can't backtrack now. It's not like Chris Eubank was... Listen, if Chris Eubank was saying, listen, I'm going to need to be 110% to beat this man. You know, I can't afford for anything to go... I need to be exactly on my A game, else it's going to go left. If that was the case, that's different. Because Eubank's admitting that it's going to be a super close fight and he can't afford for any extras. And therefore an elbow could make the difference. But all of us people betting on Chris, we would have said... I mean, I played the footage the other day. I've seen Chris Eubank in there eating shots from George Groves, big combinations all night. The shots bounce off. It doesn't even stumble his legs. Yeah? So, the elbow or no elbow, again I've said, in the UFC, yeah? In the UFC, people get hit with elbows all the time. An elbow, really, yes, it's not legal in boxing, but if you've got a chin, you should be able to hold a shot from a B-level beefy. This wasn't a Mike Tyson elbow. This wasn't a Canelo elbow. It was a B-level beefy elbow. He should have been able to take that. And I believe Chris Eubank in his prime. Ultimately, what I think's happened is I think the Big V has cooked Eubank's nerves. That's what I think's happened. I think neurologically the Big V has compromised Chris Eubank. Listen, the Big V has compromised Chris Eubank. I mean, look at the Eubank bloodline. Yeah, we know that, his brother had some weird things going on, potentially around the same date, 2021, whenever that was. Is it a big coincidence? We know all these big, strong, healthy people suddenly keeling over, yeah? And yes, Eubank's still here, yes, Chris is still here, but it doesn't mean that he's the same that he was. Because all we know is, he was taking shots all night from George Groves, no problem. No, don't even buckle his legs. Eubank Senior said, I've never even seen my son buckled. And I have to admit, I've gone back and done the research. Neither have I. So we've gone from a dude who's unbuckleable to sparked out, yeah? Solving NASA's and Elon Musk's problems. One-way mission to Mars, 100%. A single man. Listen, most people don't realise. Usually it takes thousands of scientists to be able to choreograph a mission to Mars. Eubank did it single-handedly. Let me give Liam Smith credit. Liam Smith and Chris Eubank, it was a duo mission to the moon. Sorry, to the Mars. Yeah? So NASA would listen. Fair play to Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank and Liam Smith have saved NASA billions of dollars. Yeah? Because between themselves, they've figured a way to get to Mars. 100% straight there. Yeah, 100. There's no doubt about that. So we have to salute Eubank, and Liam Smith's what they've given to society. What we didn't think was possible. Listen, we didn't think billions of dollars and thousands of people could get someone to Mars. We now know Chris Eubank And Liam Beefy Elbow Smith can get us to Marks 100%. Anyway, listen. I'm not even sure. I think this is just hype. I think this is rematch hype, truth be known. Now, if I was Chris Eubank's team, we know these fighters have huge egos, yeah? We know they love the whole ego thing. So this will help Eubank boost him up. Oh, it's the elbow. But Chris, listen, man. Like I told you, UFC fighters take elbows. It's not an elbow. I believe before the big V, yeah? Before you had the big V, that elbow would have bounced off like everything else would have, in my opinion. Elbows really, yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not a be all and end all. It's not like, fair enough, yeah. If it was the case that anyone, or if it was the case that every time someone gets hit with an elbow, they go spark out, I'd get that. YB, look at the evidence. Every time, or 90% or 80% of the time, people throw elbows, they go to sleep. That's not the case. Elbows like anything else. It can or it can't. And I've seen you take loads of shots on big, strong dudes. And all of a sudden now you're on cloud 9. And even to be honest, looking at the sequence, Eubank was actually riding the shots. And then he got elbowed. But it wasn't the elbow that made him completely fault. But we don't know, that's the thing you see. We don't know potentially about delayed onset. In that sense. For example, if I told you that it was the elbow where he buckled completely and fell down, I'd be lying. It wasn't the elbow. The elbow comes in, and then I think it's 1 or 2 shots after, it's the uppercut that actually puts him out. But what we don't know is, you don't know about delays, in that sense. It could be the elbow that made the difference. That uppercut, which was definitely the shot that put him out, think of it like a computer game, like a health bar. Yeah, Chris had 100% health. Health was going down, and the elbow comes in, and then the uppercut lands. Maybe, yeah, maybe his health bar would have had a bit left. You know, it makes sense. The uppercut, take the elbow out, and maybe it had a bit more health bar left, where the uppercut wouldn't have been the end of the game, if you get what I'm saying. But to be honest, even if you take the elbow out, would he have carried on rocking and rolling? Yeah, we're never going to know. End of the day, Chris Eubank's been fundamentally changed. None of us believe it was possible. People can say it's sport. I don't believe it's sport. It's actually quite rare at them weights for them kind of KOs. Extremely rare. It's extremely rare at 154 for these big shot KOs out of nowhere round 4. Give me an example. Give me an example of these big early KOs. It's extremely rare. Especially when you've got a bigger dude versus a smaller dude in that sense. It's too rare. Which to me, it isn't chance. Bambi should never be in a situation he's in. He needs to retire. Never mind this, and that's what worries me about the elbow thing. The elbow is definitely real, but please don't take that as that's my big excuse, because no. Yeah, if you were still the man you was, you'd have taken it, in my opinion, and it would have bounced off like everything else does. Because your chin is your chin. Your chin doesn't differentiate between an elbow or a glove. Yes, an elbow can be more hard. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe the elbow, the bobble of the elbow, is what caused that plum of a thing for sure. That weren't no glove. No, gloves don't cause plums. I've never seen someone plumbed. I've seen pork pies. I've never seen plums. That was the elbow 100%. And it all lines up nicely. He caught him with the elbow and it made a plum on his eye. So yeah. But again, it's not like Eubank didn't know all this. That's what makes it hard to defend Eubank with. You knew all this. You signed the fight. And you got really what you was looking for, in that sense. You literally said, when it going gets tough, this guy's going to start elbowing me. And it got tough for him. You must have known. Wait there a minute, he's desperate now. Innit? Let's be real now. His own team admitted. Smith's team admitted we was desperate in the corner after round 3. Going crazy, telling him, what you doing? What's going on? So you knew he was desperate, and you still got chipped. So you got no one to blame but yourself, really. Or the big V, either way. Yourself and the big V. But I'm just saying, I hope you don't take this. I mean, what are the board going to do? The board never overturn anything. Although, Eubank is the big name. That's the benefit Eubank does have, potentially. But the problem is, you see, culturally, Liam Smith's the home fighter. Yeah, culturally, yes, Eubank's the bigger name, but culturally, the Eubanks are outsiders still, in terms of Britain, if you get what I'm saying. The whole Liverpool-Manchester thing, not, Conor Eubank will always be, he's not a full Brit, is he? Let's be real now. He's not a full, he's like me. We're not full Brits. So whilst Eubank's the bigger name, Smith is the home fighter. And the BBBoC, yeah, it's not called the Caribbean boxing board of control. It's the British board of boxing control. And they ain't going to overturn something for... You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. They ain't going to uproar all the Manchester fans, all the Liverpool fans. That's their bread and butter. They ain't going to do that. So, and that's my opinion, personally. They ain't going to overturn it for Eubank. And should they do it? Should they not do it? So, ultimately, the argument is, if you really feel that there was something that was unfair, you run it back in the rematch. But what I do have to say is, I've got videos coming soon. Liam Smith, yeah, he's been very quiet on this. Now, you could argue, well, he's got nothing to say or whatever else. But it's not just the silence. The silence from Smith's team has been deafening. Like, there's been no explanation of it. But that in itself isn't normally that prejudicial against said person, Liam Smith. But what gets me is that immediately after the fight, I did videos on it. Immediately after the fight, Liam Smith's team came out with us. In fact, the first thing out of Liam Smith's mouth on the not the blower, on the Sky Sports interview, the first thing out of Liam Smith's chopper was, "Oh, let's go to 157." You know what I'm saying? So that on that basis, all things considered, you might have heard me, my opinion. I'm not someone who's sucking Eubank off and saying, yeah, it should be overturned. But I'm not going to lie either. And I do find it very suspect, bearing in mind we know how desperate they was in round 3. He comes out with a big elbow. And then, after winning a fight emphatically, I let you, by the way, all you Liam Beefy Smith fans, all you B-level Beefy fans, you're the ones who were saying, he dominated every round, he was dominating, yeah, oh, I saw it coming. So wait there a minute, all the dons, yeah, who saw it coming, and he was dominating every round, and why is the first thing out of your man's mouth, oh, we need to come down to 157? Literally, go and watch it. Go and watch Liam Smith's post-fight interview. He said it in the ring, he said it at the press conference, and his trainer said it as well. Oh, well, if it's we're the A-side now, I'm not really bothered about the money, but we've got to come down to 157. That sounds like a man who knows he got a wicked elbow off, and he's not too sure, innit? That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't make any sense from any other position. The first thing out of his mouth, it wasn't... You know what I mean? What's that about? Why are you so desperate? You just washed a man, and now the first thing you're clinging on to, you want to drain him down some more. Like, what's that? What's the need for that? Unless you was getting your chops boxed off, and you feel like you got a lucky punch. That's the answer. I'm sorry, people. The answer why you'd be desperate to drain someone down who you already beat, and you said was easy, and you said was scared to get punched, would be that you think you landed a lucky punch, and you think you need more odds in your favour. That's the only answer. There's no other explanation. Like I said, someone who truly believes they're feeding it. For example, yeah, I slag Conor Benn off, but in all fair to Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn have come out since and said, we wouldn't even want to fight Eubank at 157 now. We're happy to fight Eubank at 160. I think maybe Conor Benn maybe even said he'll do it at 164. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but he's definitely said, I wouldn't even want you. And that's what... And I'm not giving Conor Benn no credit. He's juiced off his Nelly. But I am saying that's what someone who really believes themselves does. When you see someone's vulnerable, you don't... Yeah? When you see someone's vulnerable and you really back yourself, you don't try and weight the scale in your favour even more. You go the other way and say, listen, Eubank, you're finished. And you're so finished. I'm so confident that you're finished. And or I'll finish you. I want you to be super duper comfortable. I don't want no excuses. That's what you'd think Liam Smith would be saying, based on his win. But he ain't doing that. He's going the other way, which tells you there's something fishy going on, potentially. So that's all the things to be considered here. What's my position? Eubank should retire. Well, yeah, I think he should retire. I think the Big V, I think athletes these days, if you've had the Big V, you just need to sit down somewhere. I mean, look at Sergio Aguero. I'm not a football guy. I don't watch football at all. I can't tell you, I've probably never watched a whole football match in my life. But Sergio Aguero was like one of the certainly top 20 most expensive players in the world. He had to retire at like, I don't know, 30, whatever. Because his ticker was all messed up. Suddenly, after the Big V. Yeah, one of the most expensive players in the world had to sit down somewhere because of his ticker. Suddenly enlarging. So, I mean, we haven't heard of no boxers retiring. And we all know athletes are athletes in that sense. So I'm saying there's going to be some people who are affected. It looks to me like Eubank is probably one of them. Yeah, especially given his heritage in that sense. I.e., look at his brother. Bottom line, that tells you we know different things affect different people different ways. If you have the genetic predisposition, then you have the genetic predisposition. And in my opinion, Eubanks have that. So they need to say 100% Eubank. Sit down somewhere. You've made enough money, and it's too late. It's no good. It's too late. Then it's too late once you're keeled over. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not worth it, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. If you'd have gone in there and the shots are bounced off and you're fine, crack on. But this ain't right, people. It's not right. You don't go from cast iron to Bambi overnight. I don't care about no elbow either. Elbow or no elbow. Yeah? You've gone from being someone who's bankable. Don't forget that, people. His name was Chris Eubank. Yeah? Bankable. You've gone from Chris Eubank to Chris Eubambi. That don't work. Yeah? You don't go from a bank to a Bambi. 100%. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. This case ain't going nowhere. Yeah, bottom line. But please, Chris, don't take this as please don't let this boost you up, Chris. Don't let it boost you up. Let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe, and let off the bell, 100%.